Do you really believe that progress always makes life better? That every new invention, every upgrade, every breakthrough automatically brings freedom and happiness? This belief has been sold to us for generations, and most of us accept it without question, as if the march of progress could never lead us astray. But Aldous Huxley saw through this illusion long before we did. He warned that progress would not liberate us but sedate us, that it would not make us stronger but weaker, that it would not sharpen our minds but lull them to sleep. What we celebrate as advancement may actually be the very thing that paralyzes us, and what we call progress may be the velvet chain that keeps us still. Right, I see through progress if you want to break free from this illusion and reclaim the clarity that comfort has stolen from you. Aldous Huxley, the author of Brave New World, did not imagine a world enslaved by violence. He imagined a world lulled into submission by pleasure, by comfort, and by endless distraction. He saw a society that would lose its freedom not because it was taken, but because it was traded away for convenience. His warning was not a distant prediction. It was a map of the age we now live in, and this is where the danger lies. If you blindly believe in progress, you are not living free. You are living as a consumer programmed to obey, mistaking sedation for happiness, mistaking motion for meaning, and mistaking comfort for life itself. Progress has given us comfort, but comfort has quietly stolen our resilience. Our ancestors lived in a world that was unforgiving, where survival demanded strength, endurance, and discipline. To eat, they had to hunt or farm. To keep warm, they gathered wood and built fires. To travel, they walked for miles in the cold or the heat. Life was harsh, but those hardships forged resilience. They created patience, toughness, and a sense of meaning in struggle. Comfort was rare, and because it was rare, it was cherished. Today, that world has been replaced by one wrapped in softness. Air conditioning cools the summer, central heating warms the winter. Cars carry us across distances that once took days, and machines do the labor that once demanded sweat. Entertainment fills every idle moment, removing even the experience of boredom. What used to be extraordinary comfort has become the ordinary baseline of life. But instead of freeing us, it has eroded us. We sit longer, move less, and endure almost nothing. The smallest discomfort feels like an outrage. A slow internet connection can spark anger. A delayed flight feels unbearable. A lukewarm cup of coffee becomes a crisis. Think of what this means. Generations who survived famine, disease, and war would look at us and wonder how people with so much can feel so restless, so easily broken. Huxley understood this danger. He warned that progress would not enslave us with chains, but with pleasures that numb our capacity to endure. When comfort becomes constant, resilience disappears. When every need is instantly met, patience dies. When every struggle is removed, strength fades. And here lies the paradox. Comfort feels like freedom, but it is actually a velvet cage. It soothes us into compliance. It convinces us that life should always be easy. And in believing this, we lose the very strength that allows us to face life when it is not. The comfort we celebrate as progress may be the very force that ensures we cannot survive without it. In trading resilience for ease, we have built a cage we are too weak to leave. Modern society worships growth. From childhood, we are told that progress means more, faster, newer, bigger. We measure success not by sufficiency, but by acceleration. Every headline, every commercial, every business report pushes the same message. If you are not growing, you are falling behind. This obsession sounds like ambition, but in truth, it is a trap, because growth without end is not progress. It is exhaustion. You can see it in the way we consume technology. Every year brings a new phone, a new update, a new promise that this version will finally be the one to change our lives. And so we line up, We spend, we upgrade, we discard. For a few days we feel satisfied. Then the shine fades, and suddenly the device in our hands feels outdated, as if what was miraculous last year is worthless today. We repeat the cycle endlessly, not because our lives truly improve, but because the culture of growth convinces us that standing still is failure. This treadmill is not limited to consumer goods. It defines our work and our institutions. Corporations chase quarterly profits as if the line on the chart must always climb upward. Governments measure success in GDP, ignoring whether lives actually improve. Workers burn themselves out chasing promotions, convinced that stability is stagnation. Entire economies operate on the illusion that infinite growth is possible, when the reality of resources, time, and human energy tells us otherwise. The result is a culture where no achievement is enough, no rest is allowed, and no satisfaction lasts. Huxley's warning cuts to the heart of this illusion. When growth itself becomes the goal, we no longer ask where we are growing or why. We run faster and faster, but we never arrive anywhere. Like hamsters on a wheel, we mistake motion for meaning. The danger is not that growth stops. The danger is that it never stops. And in never stopping, it robs us of the ability to pause, to reflect, to decide what matters. Endless growth is not progress. It is a prison disguised as ambition, and the more we worship it, the more trapped we become. We like to believe that technology is our servant. We convince ourselves that every new tool gives us more control, more options, and more freedom. But the reality is far darker. The tools we invent to serve us quickly begin to shape us, and before long they do not feel optional. They feel necessary. What began as freedom becomes dependency, and dependency is a softer word for slavery. Consider the way most of us begin our mornings. The alarm on the phone rings, and instead of reaching for the person beside us or stepping into the day, we reach for the screen. Within seconds, our mood is dictated by messages, by headlines, by images carefully chosen to capture our attention. Our first thoughts are not our own. They are programmed responses to a device we cannot put down. What was meant to save us time has stolen the most sacred minutes of our day. And this pattern does not end with mornings. Algorithms track what we read, what we like, what we fear. They decide which voices we hear and which we do not. They shape elections, culture, and even our desires. Technology no longer waits for us to use it. It uses us. We are not the masters of our tools. We are the raw material from which they harvest attention, data, and profit. And the more progress advances, the deeper the hooks sink. Huxley warned that the real danger was not oppression forced upon us, but captivity we would embrace. We willingly carry our cages in our pockets. We smile while handing over our privacy. We celebrate the convenience of devices that never release us. This is the illusion of progress, believing that technology has set us free, when in truth it has conditioned us to obey. The chains are invisible, but they are strong. The danger is not that we fight them. The danger is that we no longer want to. Progress often disguises itself as salvation, but more often it functions as a distraction. We are taught to believe that each breakthrough, each new invention, each upgrade is proof that life is getting better. We point to medical miracles, faster machines, and dazzling innovations, as if they are evidence that our deepest problems have been solved. Yet beneath the surface, the human condition remains unchanged. Look at medicine. We can now cure diseases that once wiped out entire populations. We can extend lifespans far beyond what our ancestors could imagine. And yet depression, anxiety, and loneliness have become epidemics. People live longer, but they are not necessarily living better. Progress has given us more years, but it has not given us more meaning. The body is treated, but the soul is left unattended. We congratulate ourselves for curing illness, but we remain helpless against emptiness. And then look at entertainment. Every year, the distractions become sharper, louder, more immersive. We stream endless shows, scroll infinite feeds, play games designed to hold us for hours. These are not simply pastimes. They are shields against silence. They allow us to avoid looking inward, to ignore the void that no technology can fill. Huxley saw this coming. He imagined a world where people would not be forced into silence but flooded with noise, so completely distracted that they would never question the emptiness beneath it. The illusion of progress is that distraction is development, but distraction does not heal. Covering a wound does not close it. Filling your mind with noise does not answer the hunger of your soul. Progress can build better tools, but it cannot erase the questions we are afraid to ask. The danger is that the more distracted we become, the less we even notice the problems festering in the shadows. And when a culture mistakes distraction for advancement, it loses the capacity to ask whether the future it is building is worth living in at all. Progress promises happiness, but more often it delivers sedation. We are told that every innovation, every breakthrough, every new convenience will finally bring us joy. Yet what it actually provides is stimulation without fulfillment. Pleasure has been confused with happiness, and the more progress accelerates, the more deeply we sink into that confusion. You can see this in the small rituals of modern life. After a long day, millions turn not to family reflection or silence, but to screens. They binge an endless series on Netflix, scroll through feeds built to keep them hooked, or drown themselves in video games and quick dopamine hits. These activities are not chosen freely. They are defaults, habits shaped by design. They soothe, but they do not satisfy. They numb the edges of our lives without ever filling the center. Huxley foresaw this world with terrifying clarity. In Brave New World, the citizens escape discomfort through soma, a drug that removes pain and replaces it with blissful emptiness. It is a society where no one suffers, but no one truly lives. Today, soma is no longer fiction. It takes the form of antidepressants prescribed in staggering numbers, of endless entertainment streams, of shopping addictions, of every quick fix that spares us from facing reality. The modern world has created its own pharmacy of escapes, and like Huxley's characters, we consume them willingly. The danger is not simply that we chase pleasure, it is that we confuse it with happiness. Happiness requires depth, meaning, struggle, and engagement with life. Pleasure requires only a button to press. Progress has given us millions of buttons, each one promising relief, but none delivering the fulfillment we crave. The illusion is seductive because it feels good in the moment, but it leaves us emptier than before. The truth is stark. We are not living in the age of happiness. We are living in the age of sedation, smiling while we slowly forget what real joy feels like. Progress is celebrated for making life efficient, but efficiency often strips away what makes us human. We imagine that smoother systems, faster outputs, and optimized routines will give us freedom. Instead, they reduce us to functions inside a machine. In chasing efficiency, we risk forgetting that we are not machines at all. Look at the rhythm of modern life. For many, the day begins with a commute, followed by hours of repetitive work, followed by screens, consumption, and sleep. The cycle repeats with clockwork precision. It is efficient, yes, but efficient at what? Efficient at producing profit. Efficient at consuming products. Efficient at keeping us busy, without ever allowing us to ask whether this busyness has meaning. A person becomes less of a soul and more of a unit in a system, interchangeable and easily replaced. Huxley saw this danger clearly. He described societies where individuality was erased in favor of order, where the messy unpredictability of human life was sacrificed to keep the system running smoothly. Today, corporations reduce human beings to data points and productivity metrics. Governments measure people by economic output, not by the richness of their lives. Algorithms decide what we see, what we think, even who we become. The rough edges of humanity, our doubts, our struggles, our unique voices, are sanded down so the machine can run without friction. And here is the most unsettling truth. The loss of humanity is not forced upon us. We trade it willingly. We submit to efficiency because it is easier than resisting. We let systems define us because it feels safer than chaos. But what we gain in convenience, we lose in soul. The danger is not the tyrant who strips away our humanity. The danger is that we no longer value it enough to fight for it. Progress has given us tools to live like machines, and we have begun to mistake that for living at all. One of the most dangerous illusions of progress is the blind faith that tomorrow will always be better than today. We are taught that history is a straight line moving upward, that each generation will inevitably live freer, happier, and safer than the last. This faith feels comforting, but it is built on sand. The future is not guaranteed. Progress does not ensure improvement. Believing otherwise is not hope. It is negligence. Look at the 20th century. It was an era of astonishing progress. Electricity lit entire cities, airplanes crossed oceans. Medicine eradicated plagues that had haunted humanity for centuries. And yet, it was also the bloodiest century in human history, marked by 2 world wars, concentration camps, atomic bombs, and genocides. The same scientific breakthroughs that brought light also built weapons of mass destruction. Progress advanced, but humanity did not advance with it. And look at us now. We assume technology will solve climate change, political corruption, or the emptiness of modern life. We assume tomorrow's inventions will rescue us from the problems created by yesterday's. This faith makes us passive. Why sacrifice today when the future will fix everything? Why confront hard truths when an upgrade will arrive to ease the pain? The belief that the future will inevitably save us blinds us to the responsibility of acting now. Huxley warned that false hope is more dangerous than despair. Despair forces you to face reality. False faith allows you to sleep through it. Progress can promise us miracles, but if we do not question its direction, we may wake up to find that the future we trusted has betrayed us. The truth is sobering. Tomorrow is not guaranteed to be better. It can be worse, far worse, if we hand over our freedom and vigilance in exchange for blind faith. Progress does not absolve us of responsibility, it magnifies it. And if we do not carry that burden consciously, the future we long for may become the nightmare we cannot escape. If all of this is true, then the question becomes unavoidable. How do we escape the illusion of progress without retreating into despair? Huxley never called for rejecting every advancement. He called for awareness, for the discipline to decide which forms of progress serve us and which enslave us. The first step is to practice selective progress. Not every innovation deserves a place in your life. Ask yourself with each new device, each new habit, each new promise, does this make me stronger or does it make me more dependent? Keep what empowers you. Leave behind what weakens you. The second step is to embrace voluntary hardship. We live in an age that avoids discomfort at all costs, but discomfort is the soil in which strength grows. Choose moments of struggle deliberately. Fast from the digital world. Sit in silence without distraction. Take on discipline that pushes you beyond convenience. In choosing hardship, you reclaim resilience, and resilience is the antidote to sedation. The third step is to reclaim technology as a tool, not a drug. Use it to build, to create, to connect intentionally, not to numb yourself. The device in your hand can be a library or a casino, a workshop or a trap. The difference lies in whether you direct it or it directs you. Refuse to let your tools become your masters. Finally, build values that no upgrade can replace. Progress will always dangle the next version, the faster model, the shinier promise. But meaning is not found in upgrades. It is found in wisdom, in character, in truth, in relationships, in the strength of the inner life. These are the anchors that progress cannot counterfeit. Without them, every new advance will feel hollow. With them, you can walk through an age of illusions and remain free. Progress is not salvation. It is not the guarantee of a brighter tomorrow or the promise of a freer life. At its best, it can be a tool. At its worst, it becomes a velvet cage, soft enough to lull us into comfort, strong enough to keep us from breaking free. Huxley's warning was never meant as prophecy alone. It was a mirror held up to our time, reminding us that comfort without consciousness becomes captivity. So the question is no longer whether progress will continue. It will. The question is whether you will let it define you. Do you want the freedom to live as a human being, resilient, awake, alive, or the comfort of living as a slave who does not even know he is chained? That choice is the real measure of progress, and it is yours to make.